When Prime Minister Trudeau announced that air travelers returning to Canada from non-essential international trips would have to quarantine in an approved hotel at their own expense for up to 72 hours while they wait for a negative COVID test. Understandably, this had many human rights advocates asking, is this legal? The Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedoms in Calgary, Alberta, has filed legal action against the government. Jay Cameron is the litigation director at the Justice Centre and joins us now. Thanks so much for joining us today, Jay. Now, what is the Justice Centre's primary concern about this new mandate?
We're concerned that this is a complete overriding of Canadian civil liberties. Specifically, there's a constitutional right under Section 6 to enter and leave Canada. The right to liberty and security of the person, the right not to be arbitrarily detained or imprisoned. There's a right to retain counsel, and there's a right not to be subjected to cruel and unusual punishment. There's also a right to appear in front of a judge within 24 hours upon detention or arrest, and there's a right to a bail hearing. And so these orders, the requirement to forcibly confine yourselves in a federal facility, are an overriding of all of those things. And so somebody who is accused of homicide has a right to a bail hearing, a lawyer, to appear before the judge. But if you're a citizen returning to their own country, you have none of those rights.
There's also a lot of confusion. Some are claiming a 3-hour wait for a COVID test at the airport when they arrive. As we know, this mandate just started recently. There are claims that there's only one phone number to book hotels, to quarantine through this forced quarantining. Are the rules being communicated clearly to Canadians, Jay?
And so if you test positive for COVID in Canada, you don't have to forcibly quarantine in a hotel. You just go isolate in your house. But if you come back, even if you have a negative test, they're forcibly isolating you. And all of that is just, it's not rational, it's not logical, and our position is it's unconstitutional. That's why we've launched the lawsuit.
So what are our rights as Canadians? Do we have the right to refuse forced hotel stays and travel bans then?
Interestingly enough, if you show up at the airport and refuse to go to the hotel and are arrested, you have more rights than the person who is taken to the hotel. If you're arrested, you would have a right to appear in front of a judge if you actually are arrested. And so, it remains to be seen how far the federal government is going to push these measures, especially since they are not reflected in the way that COVID is being handled with respect to people who are in the country or who are returning at the land border.
All right, Jay Cameron of the Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedoms, thank you so much for your time.